Anybody watched last week's video yet?
Lots of people.
I mean, like 2 weeks ago, when we had recording.
Yeah. We get a lot of the back traffic, and we are live now.
All right.
So,
yeah, back then, I don't know if it's going to look that way this time.
On this one.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Do your intro.
We are here now, I guess, as the 4 LCS guys of the apocalypse, of the post-apocalypse. Although I'm not an LCS guy, so I guess we just have 3. I'm RJ Carter with CriticalBlast.com, and we're doing our bi-weekly catch-up here with local comic shop guys from around the country, as oxymoronic as that sounds, local from around the country. But the LCS label stuck, so we're going to keep you guys with it. We are catching up on how business is hanging on by a thread or by a noose during all this quarantine business, as states have some places shut down and other states are open, but Diamond has shut down. We have Yule Carter from Fantastic Comics in Berkeley. We got Dave Dyer from Cosmic Comics in Belleville, Illinois, and Michael Tierney from the Comic Book Store and Collector's Edition in Little Rock, Arkansas. So last week, new comics, guys.
Yeah.
How did
it was something.
Better than nothing. That's all it was better. But yeah, it's better than nothing. At least to have a reason for people to come back into your stores.
Yeah. Or knock on the door.
You can tell by
some of you guys are open and some of you guys do it curbside. Yeah. It's almost like a black market for comics.
Yeah.
You can tell by
you
can tell by the skin tone of us that which one of us has not been in lockdown.
This room is I don't have good lighting.
I'm in my tiki bar. There's no lighting down here hardly. So.
I'm in a basement all day long. I have no excuse.
Have y'all seen that when Marvel's finally going to start being distributed by Diamond here in just a couple more weeks? Have you seen the list of everything coming out over the end of May, June, and in July? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, Michael, because I'm working on my what is it, March, April order, and half the Marvel I can't order, and apparently I missed the cutoff that they threw at us Monday that you had to have in by midnight, and I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to see where we're going to start having problems. At least I am, because there's so much conflicting crap coming in at us, and so I missed this whole Marvel thing. I'm like, well, at least I don't think they zeroed out any of the Marvel, so whatever I've ordered in the past.
I don't see why they cut you off like that, because they're hardly shipping anything off for a while. I mean, it's almost like 1 week's worth of books spread out over 2 months. It's like I've been telling my customers, I feel like I'm a supermodel who somebody handed a green pea to and said, okay, that's your food for the week. Don't overindulge.
Yeah.
I mean,
then,
how are we supposed to eat?
I go to put this order in. I'm working on Marvel right now, and half the stuff is not available. It's not back ordered like any of the Wonder Woman covers that they were going to do specials. You can't order. They're gone. They're just not there.
Wow.
So I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to order anything right now? I get that we don't know when it's going to come out, but still, I'd like to get the order in, and then we can talk with it later, So, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I've been doing this 38 years. I've never been so disappointed and just tired of the BS with the industry as I am right now.
Yeah.
So, Michael, you're ordering both from Lunar? Is it Lunar for you?
No, I'm going UCS.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing Lunar.
Midtown.
Okay, but you're doing them, and you guys are also placing Diamond orders, obviously, right?
Yeah. I know. I have to keep track of what did I order here, over there. Yeah.
So while I'm closed and I'm still placing orders, I've got the Corona plan, which says they're going to hold our stuff for us because we're not really supposed to open till the end of the month, and even then, who knows if we're really supposed to open. They've made allowances at the end of the week. We're going into phase 2 in California, but that's California. That's not necessarily the Bay Area or specifically Contra Costa, where I live, in the East Bay. And they're saying, like nurseries and food delivery and curbside service for that type of stuff. But they really have not explicitly said that bookstores were okay to do that. And they really haven't since we've been open. It seems like people have been playing by their own rules, but there is really no rule that says that we're supposed to be open right now. and people want to make allowances. I mean, I'm not talking about comic stores now. I'm talking about like people outside. They're like, oh, well, it's a necessity to get a book. All that stuff is online. Don't worry about that.
Online sales have been brisk.
Exactly. I mean, that's like things that a good workaround, obviously. But we're trying to not have people come out of their houses as much as possible. And even today, where I live, I was at the park walking a dog. I have a mask on. I'm staying away from everybody. Almost nobody had masks on, and they're all just kind of congregating next to each other. And I'm like, whoa. Maybe out here, that's not the thing to do right now.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So Bill,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If I'm understanding this correctly, then while everybody can order, you can order, but you can't get.
Diamond had a plan available for us to accrue our comics, but not get them in the store until we're able to open up. Now, there's no real concrete conversation as to how it's going to get doled out after the fact, which is very worrisome.
Yeah.
Big lump with one big invoice.
Yeah, I'm sorry, what was that?
I can see you getting one big lump of comics with one big invoice for all of them.
They can't do it that way. There's no way they can do that. That'll kill us. I mean,
Yeah.
none of us
That would.
money. Oh, Michael. Hey, Mike, can I borrow some money, by the way?
Ask a comic person to draw a picture for you, so you can auction it off.
Auction it off, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there is no way that Diamond can slam these shops, any of our shops, with a big ass invoice. But we don't know what their plan of attack is going to be as far as this happens. I mean, like I said, next week I get something from Diamond, and it's stuff that I reordered, like trade paperbacks and stuff that I reordered months and months ago that I even forgot about. And I'm like, what the hell? And thankfully it's not that much. But yeah, they can't go throw a $5,000, $8,000 order at us.
Now, here's the question that they haven't answered yet at all. Remember how they were saying a couple months ago how Marvel was going to give us credits, going to give us some assistance?
Yes, please let me know
I haven't heard
about
a word
that.
of that. Well, how's that?
Oh,
going?
really?
What I
haven't heard a word
noticed,
about. I mean, if it ever needed, it's going to be on that first invoice.
yeah, what
Right.
I noticed on this invoice that I've got for next week is I'm getting a lot of price adjustments on previous comics or ones that are going to be coming out, and it looks like they're cheaper from what I can tell. So, yeah. So I guess maybe that's what they're thinking about is price adjustments.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw an
So if
invoice
they're-
come through on my account from Diamond. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I was like, well, I thought they weren't shipping for another 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
I have to look at that, see what that says.
If Marvel gives you a bigger discount, are they releasing less books so that you don't get so much off of their stuff over that time?
Because they're not shipping much, that's for sure.
That just came to me. I mean, is that the reason? One week
yeah,
it's going to be comic books,
today. So
and then the next week it's going to be graphic novels. And it's going to go comic books, graphic novels for a little while.
no, I think you're right.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about that.
We'll give you a 30% discount on all the books we ship over the next month, and we're only going to ship one a week.
That's five a week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really generous.
Yeah, exactly. And like we just, I'm not sure who's working with Lunar or the other one, but I just ordered the Catwoman 80th anniversary one of Catwoman that's coming out that I ordered months ago, and I had to reorder it. And so, I mean, it's just, thank God, you guys are everybody is so far behind on this. I don't know when we'll ever see anything.
Well, what's really
None of us can give any of our customers answers.
it's really tricky because you don't know how many of your customers are going to come in to actually buy them now.
I know.
2 months ago, you knew what the demand was. Now you don't.
There
It could be
is
overwhelming. It could be
right now.
non-existent.
Right.
well, Yul and I were talking before the show started here about how some publishers were able to stay open as an essential business, and I'd been thinking about that. I guess it was the only thing I could come up with was that the legislators who decided to quarantine everything and who had to make a list of what was essential and what was not, didn't want the potential First Amendment battle that publishers would be coming up with, saying, "Hey, you're stifling our ability to disseminate speech." So they just said, "Yeah, you know what? We don't want that fight. You're essential. Go ahead."
Now
If I were a comic publisher, I'd be using that same argument.
Right.
Have you gotten any kind of aid for your shop?
There is some stuff coming. I don't think the first round of PPP came to us. There are some. Hey there. There's some local government, like Berkeley stuff that is coming. We've got a lot. There's generosity of customers saying that they're for us. We have a Patreon page. Fantastic Comics. But we also, we just are accepting gratuity, but it's not something that we necessarily need. It's just something that we're kind of like banking on so that when that big bill happens, if it should happen that way, we will be prepared for it. It's kind of our slush fund. There's some things that we still need to pay for, even though we're not in business, like phones and electricity as we're moving stores and things like that. We're not making money, so that's actually helping us pay our bills. But we're not really accruing a lot of debt right now, so we're kind of solid. It's hard to want to say things like that out loud. When you're saying like a noose, like, are you getting a noose? I feel like the way we are as a store is there's a noose laid out on the table, and then there's a razor blade laid out on the table, and then maybe a few other things that are a little bit more positive also. And I can choose any of those scenarios going forward, but there's so many outside factors, Diamond, these other distribution, the publishers, the fact that they're not going to do anything for us really as far as changing the dynamic of publisher to distributor to store. They're not going to do anything. We know that. It's a lot of wasted opportunity right now, and I really, it's very upsetting. Very upsetting.
I'll tell you what. I hope that I'm worried about when Diamond comes back, because before they went out, I was having 10 to 25% damages and shortages, mostly shortages, and almost always the same one at both stores every week. It's crippling when you can't get your stuff. I mean, when you're getting 10 to 25% of your books. And it's just a regular thing that every week you're trying to recover from all the damage and shortage from last week. And they never improved. They kept saying they were going to, and it never did. Maybe you have a blip one week that, it's under 10% one time in the year. And
right.
I'm wondering what it's going to be like when they start back up again. How are they going to get their good people? I don't know how many good ones they had over there in Memphis, because it was just awful the way they packed me. Either that or they just don't like me. Were you guys having similar trouble?
I've never felt that they specifically hated me, although I've often said Diamond hates me.
Well, they did ship me a horse's head in the mail one time. Let me explain that. I get this envelope of all these ripped up covers and comics, is torn up, stuffed in an envelope from Diamond. And the way I knew it came from Memphis was because the package had gotten damaged by the post office. So they repaired and put a little note on there. Sorry, this was damaged by the Memphis post office. And so I was asking my rep, Hitchcock, and said, when he came by, I said, "What? Explain this. What's going on?" And he couldn't. And they took it back to the Baltimore and said, "We're asking around. This must have been somebody else got a hold of one of our envelopes and did something." I'm like, I don't know. I just really kind of wonder how bad the service I get all the time out of Memphis. And there's somebody over Memphis just really doesn't like me.
Yeah.
It was an odd package to get. What's that?
So they sent you ripped up comics as a sort of a warning.
That's kind of what it felt like. I mean, your cover list, torn up cover. I mean, they were like 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, where would they even come up with those? I have no idea. And why somebody would want to ship that to me from Diamond in Memphis. I was like, it's kind of like getting a horse's head. Like, this is a warning. You need more trouble. That's what your rest of your books are going to look like.
It'd be a shame if all your books came in this way.
That's kind of the way it felt, And
then what I would always hate is you check your order in, and I would let them know ASAP that this one was damaged or whatever. I still wouldn't see that replacement for 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares? What's the damn point then?
Well, the worst for me was the variants, which usually that's going to sell the first week.
Right.
Mine were always the ones that were either shorted, damaged, or they were just reading them and thumbing them all up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it cost me so much in sales. I'm like, how good are they going to be when they come back?
Exactly. I mean, and I remember I had one problem with one kind. I forget which one it was, and this was quite a few months back. But I'd get them replaced because they were damaged, and then they send me another shipment that was damaged.
Yeah.
And I get that replaced, and I get the third one was damaged, and by then I'm like, forget it, nobody wants this now, you know?
There have been books I was shorted on, and I have never, ever gotten. That used to never, ever happen. Nowadays, like, sorry, we never got that issue from Diamond.
And I don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to get worse now.
That's what I'm worried about, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just ask for credit from this point on. Give me another one, just give me a credit, you know, and if somebody wants one, I'll special order it for them and whatever.
It would always be like every summer there would be one book I just wouldn't get. So like one year it was like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And then one year it was like Nightwing or something. You know, for some reason I just didn't get it. And of course that's the issue that goes out of print immediately. You know, Doctor Strange or whatever.
I still have that problem. I still have I ordered something and you know, and I've moved on because, you know, it's something and I'll forget that I ordered it and then like one of my customers come in, hey, whatever happened to that issue, whatever, and I'll like go back and look and go, oh, I never got it. You know, and then by then, and it's like I always feel like I'm the low man on the totem pole. And obviously I feel like that too. So there's a lot of us at the end of that totem pole. I'm like, well, who's getting all the fucking issues then? You know?
Amazing how often the hot book is the book that you got shorted on, isn't it?
Amen.
Diamond distributes comic books, graphic novels, toys, games especially through Alliance, which is another organization that they have. So all the stuff that you usually see, T-shirts, other things, posters, as long as it goes through their magazine, which is Previous. Am I right?
Yeah.
That sounds right. So there you go, Jill B. Pill.
Jill B. Pill, excellent question. Thanks for contributing to the chat here with a question tonight.
Yes.
And for that, we have a giveaway that we want to present you with.
Tell that to everybody. RJ, tell them. Everybody chime in.
Everybody, ask questions.
Oh.
Jill, if you will DM us over on Twitter at Critical Blast and let us know how we can get this to you. We have a Quiet Place Steelbook Blu-ray that we will be happy to ship your way. You can't really see.
How do I get one?
You should have asked a question earlier, Dave.
Damn. I didn't know you were giving away stuff tonight. Damn it.
Yeah, I would have plugged that.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to give it away for weeks, and I was like, damn it, I'm going to remember to do it tonight.
I haven't seen the movie, but I hear my daughter loves it. I know there's part 2 was supposed to come out, and it's been delayed because of the COVID thing, but I've got it queued up to watch on Amazon. So
it's got some get you right here moments. Just the way it and it's a slow burner, but it's a good one.
Good.
Not real talky.
No, it's
You're
not
right.
talking going on like they do.
I don't think you're supposed to, right? You gotta be quiet because they'll come and get you.
Exactly.
That's great.
So during all this time of no shipments and no comics, somebody has found a way to get around it and found a pretty good time to do so. The Brightweiser family has opened up Allegiance Arts, and they now have end caps of their comics in Walmart, which are of course essential businesses, and open. What are the thoughts on that? I mean, are they going to show up in comic book stores too, or are they?
I asked actually Mitch Brightweiser about that. I said, "Are you have any plans for these to come into comic book stores?" And he said, "Right now, no. I think they have an exclusive deal with Walmart and whoever they're partnered with, and that's just the way it's going to be right now."
Mm-hmm. I had a customer come in today who'd bought a whole set of them at the local Walmart, and he comes in. He had this odd look on his face. He goes, "How can I get these stickers off?" I said, "What are you talking about?" Walmart stuck stickers to the front of the comics. And I looked at the back of the book, and it has the indicia, has the price back there. But for some reason, somebody went along and stuck stickers on the very front of, 1 by 1 or 1 by 1.5 by 1.5 stickers on every single comic on the upper right-hand side. They're like, why would they deface him like that? He was trying to dig one off in the store. He goes, "I'll try this at home," because it just wasn't working with him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Stickers on everyone.
Yeah, I heard about that.
When I read about this thing, I wasn't super thrilled about it. But then when I read the article, and they were like they're independent comics, and they kind of designed them, I think, around the whole Walmart thing. I mean, personally, I hate the fact that Walmart even sells comics. I mean, comics are something you either buy in a bookstore or you buy at a comic book shop. Back in the old days when I grew up, and Michael, you'll remember the old 5 and Dime, like Ben Franklin out here in the Midwest, or even your local drugstore had a spinner rack. Okay.
Hey, kids, comics.
Yeah. But then as we moved on, we ended up having a lot of comic book shops. Walmart is already such a damn conglomerate of everything in the world. I just felt like comic books were sacred to us comic book people, comic book stores, and at least bookstores. But
never bothered me.
What do I know, right? You can buy Pokemon at Walmart.
Yeah, it never bothered me having comics in other places because that was just more of an outreach opportunity for people to find it. And then when they got serious, then they came to me to get the real stuff and get consistent stuff on a regular basis.
But it's those Walmart exclusive things that I get aggravated with that. It's like buying an album and the album is a Walmart exclusive, whether it's a Prince album or a Kiss album.
That's where DC made a mistake, is when they became exclusive to Walmart. That was not. They should have been, given stores the ability to have it also. That's the only thing I had a problem with. Yeah. As far as the Futurists and all the other comic books like Red Rooster, I went to my local Walmart and they are supposed to have it, and I couldn't find it. And I went to the areas that they're supposed to be, and it wasn't there. And I asked, and of course, this is where I see a problem, and why I don't fear Walmart either, is that the person that has to stock the bananas doesn't care about these comic books. And they probably don't care. And if they don't care about the Superman ones, they don't care about somebody else's. And it might feel like a boon to be over a large swath of stores out there. But if your people aren't there to actually move the product or care to move the product or actually put it out on the floor, that could be a problem.
Right.
Well, yeah. One thing about that is that they knew that right up front that they wouldn't get into every store all around the country on the same day. It was going to take them several days to roll out, depending on the region, the distributor, this and that. Now, the flip side of that, and this is something I hope does not happen to. I really am kind of worried about this. Is I'm in the middle of Wally World. Walmart is a Arkansas company, and so I hear all the dirty and ugly stories about Walmart. Like there was this one guy who got a big contract with Walmart to make all this furniture, and he thought, "Man, that's it. I'm in. I got this gigantic contract." Hired extra people, bought equipment, leased extra space, manufactured all these things, shipped them off, and so he's waiting for the terms for it to come due to get his big check, right? Well, then all this damaged merchandise just comes flooding back in. And he was bankrupt. He lost everything. And, he thought he was in like Flynn, and ended up because Walmart didn't care if stuff came back damaged. Yeah, we'll just send it back to manufacturer. And it wiped him out. He lost everything.
And if you all watch Tiger King, you know that they just throw the meat away. And then you can, go buy and get all the free meat and give it to your tiger. That's what I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got 4 or 5 in the backyard.
Okay.
now I know how to feed them. Yeah, I don't know what the statute of limitations is on this, especially when I'm telling comic book retailers. So this was back in the days of, the spinner racks and everything. And I would stay the weekend with my grandmother and go walk the 3 blocks to the IGA, where the magazine rack was right there in the front with comics on there. So it'd always be new comics stuff coming in there. This was when Secret Wars was still coming out. So, I remember getting the black costume Spider-Man and and there was a Jean Grey Dark Phoenix special. And I would thumb through that whole little stack of the same title and pick out the sweetest one there was and set it aside, and then look left and look right and bend the corner on the other 5. Because
oh, no. You're the guy.
I know how to press those out now.
When I was a kid growing up, and this is way back mid 60s in Kansas. And, I was riding my bike up in grade school, and there was a local cigar shop They carried the full line of all the stuff. They'd had the local distributor just dropped them off, bundle all the comics. Well, they learned after a while, hey, they just laid the bundles there. I'd come through, open up the bundles for them, do everything on the racks for them. That way I got to pick out my perfect copies. Had no idea I was going to be doing that for the rest of my life.
It was fun.
But I got some nice copies.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I always look at it in the light. Do I see something I don't like? Yeah, exactly.
But it's in the blood. I again, before the show, I was telling Yule I've been spending quarantine down here in the basement. I've got 19 long white boxes here that are front to back, bagged, boarded, and taped shut. It's like a rock garden. It's just this beautiful feeling of having it all done.
I tell you what, I've sold more supplies than I used to do. So
I've been selling a lot of supplies too. Yeah.
You know what? That I would say that to any comic store that's like, I don't know where to put my money. Buy supplies. Those have to go. You know that. It's way better than buying some crummy comic you can't sell right now.
I sold three magazine boxes today. Over 300 packs or 300 packs of bags and 2 or 3 packs of boards. I mean, just with one guy. I'm like, yeah, cool. I got to order more now.
So you're still doing like the black market comic book thing where it's like somebody knocks 3 times at the door and a slide thing comes over and says, "What's the password?"
That's right. Like back in the old days, we used to go into Cahokia, Illinois, and go to Potnabah. There's a little trailer. You just pull your car up and you knock on the window, and the guy slides it open. You hand him money. He gives you an ounce. So, and that was a long time ago. Okay. But yeah, it's like that. What did John say there? I didn't catch that.
Oh, he said spinner rack comics always were bent on the upper third as I rifled through them for the older ones I missed. So yeah, he's bending them back, looking through the.
You know what always drives me crazy about those spinner racks? You go in and you see that one guy who he's not interested by anything. He'd go to all and they'd have all the same copies, and each rack would all be the same thing, and they'd still just do this number on every one, like they're just flipping a deck of cards and putting dings in every single copy, and they had no intention of buying it. They're just going through, just like that guy who goes through the store and thumbs every loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Well, those 20 damaged copies make your one copy worth just that much more.
That's right. Get the one in the middle.
Because
do that.
Yeah,
I do that still actually, and I'll go to Dave's and I'll pick like the second or third one back. I know that the first one's gonna have thumbprints on it or something like that because people picked it up, looked at it, put it back.
Right.
See, we as retailers know to never put the nice copy up front. Put it 2 or 3 back, or if you got a damaged one, you put that 2 or 3 back too, and then they'll grab that one and leave the nice one in front.
Exactly. So I guess Illinois' plan is to open up June 1st in phased approaches. Dave, have you heard? I mean, are you gonna be allowed to open up on June 1st, or are you gonna have to wait a little bit longer?
No, I personally, RJ, I don't see that even happening. I mean, as of right now, Governor Pritzker has said that this is extended through May 30th, and then it can be extended based on whether or not he gets to get more money for the state of Illinois or not.
Uh-huh.
The politics plays into Illinois so bad that it's going to. I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the phase 3, which is where I get to open up no more than 10 people at a time in the shop. No gaming, nothing like that. And the way our shop is set up, and RJ knows, we've got a coffee lounge. We have a giant screen movie theater, little mini movie theater in there. So we were doing all kinds of like little movie showings, stuff like that. I can't do any of that. So it's going to be a long time before I'm back to my normal, which is the way our shop is set up. So I don't think we'll see gaming again in my back room for at least the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, so, Dave's got 2 arcade games that are free to play, and one of them is that 3D thing that you pull it down over your head and you're shooting things so your eyes and nose are against it. Nobody's going to be touching that for a long time.
Always wipe those off anyway.
Always.
People.
We always
Always.
do, but still,
I've heard about face herpes.
I would just hope we could get to phase 3 by June 1st. I'd be happy, but I just don't know.
So you said there was a 5-point plan?
Yeah, for the state of Illinois, and we are currently in phase
Point 1?
2, which is I can do online sales, I can deliver or do curbside, but nobody can come into my shop. So phase 3 would be that I could open up and no more than 10 people. Everybody has to be 6 feet apart. You have to wear a mask. Yada yada yada. And phase 4 is some parks open up. I forget what else was. And phase 5 is we all get a shot and everybody's healthy. And then the whole world goes back to normal. So
we're waiting on that part.
To answer Jill B. Still, yeah, gaming's gonna hurt because I have a concession area with our lounge. We sell coffee, tea, sodas, pizza, hot dogs, taquitos. I mean, we'll give you the whole experience. So I'm going to end up missing those sales, which is about 15%. Then I got my Magic group who, I can't let Magic play, and they always, God, I love my Magic group. They come in and they buy Magic cards right then and there. They want to play with a new deck, or even Keyforge, which is everybody comes in and buys a new deck and plays Keyforge. So, yes, Jill, it's gonna hit us. I'm gonna feel that repercussion for a while.
And you lose community that way also. That's the saddest thing.
Yeah, all your gamers and even our people even our comic book collectors who like to just sit there and shoot the shit, about what's going on in the Marvel universe and the DC universe. They want to get together and talk Joker War. I mean, I'd watch them go sit in our lounge and go back and forth on, whatever new storyline was going on. That's gone right now. It's going to be gone for a while. So it's going to affect all of us.
Making me cry, man.
I don't want to see Mr. Dooley.
No, I'm just joking. No, that's sad, though, really. I mean, that's the thing people don't think about.
How long have you guys been selling Magic?
Ever since I opened, I've been selling Magic. But recently, probably about 6 months ago, I had 2 good groups. Magic was always one of those games that I could never get into my shop. I was more of a D&D shop. I have like 4 different groups that play D&D in a large group. But then I got my Magic guys came in, and they started getting bigger and bigger. And they would do Tuesday night and Friday night.
They spend more, too.
What was that, Joel?
I said they spend more, too.
Yes, they do. I loved it. I would get so happy. I'm like, oh, my God, their guys are here. And they would get in the ground, and they'd get into my private stash, which, was ones that we hadn't gotten into, loose cards that we hadn't gotten into the sales in. And I'd go for it, guys, and they just rifle through, and next thing you know, they had a box full, and I go, okay, we'll take these. I'm like, cool. I love it.
I got into Magic right at the very beginning.
The carpet gets pulled out.
Got any of those cards, RJ?
I did. I mean, I was playing with black bordered cards.
Ooh, even the lands are costly.
Well, I was one of those guys that, I always read the entire rule book and look for the loophole. And I found the loophole on the last page of the book. Because it was all about, gaining life points and just taking away life points. And then the last one was like, if you run out of cards, you lose. I'm like, there's my target. So I had just this 60-card deck with these rare cards in it, even rare at the time, like Balance and Time Twister and Tormod's Crypt that would remove the graveyard. And it was all I did was just cycle through my cards, get rid of your land, get rid of your characters, get rid of your lands, get rid of your characters. I had no attack at all. All I did was get rid of your cards, show the top card on your deck at all times with the enchantment that I had out there, and I would make sure that all you did was draw land until you were out of cards.
Like
and then they'd be like, what do I do now? I'm like, well, according to the rule book, you just lost. And I'd show the rule, like, holy, what did... That was, again, like, in the first 90 days of the game when it came to Illinois, working at the Air Force Base, and a guy just came back from a convention and said, "Look what I found. This is going to be hot."
I was carrying it back with this black border myself. I jumped on it real early, and I remember there were stores around the country that would be robbed. People burglarized in the middle of the night. They'd take the magic cards and leave the cash. Cash wasn't worth it hauling off. They just wanted the magic cards.
Just the magic cards.
Yeah, that still happens.
Yeah, and I was, I bought directly
for a year, and nobody played it. So when I came back to Illinois, I was, it's like, not buying comics for 2 months. You get out of the habit of doing it. You don't really care to get back into it after that. I just went to the comic shop with it and got $250 for a deck of 60 cards. I was quite happy.
I mean, I even had one of my my gamers recently. He asked me how everything's going and when am I going to be open again? And and I don't have the answer. None of us really do. And then I said, but I'm sorry to say that, and it was a big D&D group, and I said, I'm sorry to say that, as of right now, I don't see any gaming happening for the rest of the year. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, I understand that. He goes, but we thought that maybe we could go and just sit outside and game outside the front of the shop. So we love you guys so much. We want to support you. So we always have a table out there. We can go out there and drink your coffee or, smoke or whatever. Yeah. And then I thought to myself, God, I can't even do that. Because when this all went down, the police came up, knocked on my door. I opened it up, and he goes, you need to pull your table and get it out. And I'm like, why? He goes, well, we're going to clean the street. And they never cleaned the damn street. They just wanted to get the tables out so people wouldn't be congregating. So even back then, they knew this shit was going to be like this.
Exactly. So, there was a guy who does podcasts out of Texas. I listen to him all the time. He's called Your Boy Zach, and he's got a huge audience talking about comics. And he said he does comic reviews in his car on his phone. He's got 100,000 people listening to this. But he said they came in and they took the concrete picnic tables out of the park.
Yeah.
In Texas.
Yeah. They're doing that.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. It's a bummer. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about all the good things going on for comic book stores.
All right. Well, Marvel's going digital, I hear.
That's not good for stores.
Is that good because you don't have to carry them anymore?
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, that's exactly right. Actually, you can get a sense if something is good if it goes digitally first. They'll come out with a collection eventually. And if you're so inclined, you can either sell someone on that concept or just carry it all together. And, it might be a character you like. They've been doing it with like Black Widow, and DC's done it with like the Bombshells. Any of those like Batman Beyond books often are like digital first. Right. And a lot of people don't even realize it. So even now, people don't buy digital near as much as you think.
Because, like we said before,
we'll dropping
this really quick again. You're not going to get the older crowd to read digital. The whole point of the comic book industry is it's a collectible industry. It's the thrill of the hunt, trying to get that Batman '89 before it sells out, so that you can flip it real quick or hold on to it and go, I got a first, print of Batman '89. It's that whole, every customer I talk to, like, I don't want to deal with, the hell with digital. What the,
yeah.
I can't make any money. There's no tangible item. Right.
And they compare it to the music industry, saying how, look, music went from vinyl and CDs to digital. So, comics can do the same thing. But music is more of a general audience thing that had a subset of collectors that wanted the physical item. The rest of them just wanted to hear the music. Comics is a total subset of collectors. They all
want a tactile experience too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I agree. It is a tactile experience. And I've always said that, but there is, I don't know, man. You hear about people that are just paring down their collections all the time, almost to the point where they don't want to be in it anymore. And that's kind of frustrating because there's always something good to buy, right? But when
they're getting rid of the stuff you've got so they can buy the stuff that is,
Well, that's where digital comes in,
Well, yes and no. I mean, look, do we even have numbers on how much digital is actually bought out there?
I think they say like 10%.
Yeah, it's low because you're still
And
spending
it's going lower.
Yeah, it's $3 too for digital. When you're paying $3.99 for a comic book, and I got the actual comic book, I'm going to go that extra buck to get the comic book.
I know I personally might consider buying more regularly a brand new comic book if it was only $1 digitally. In the very least, I can peruse it while I wait to try and find the other, the hard copy of it.
Right.
But yeah, these prices for digital just don't really do it for me.
Crazy.
Well,
Yeah,
that's just to help protect print sales, though.
Well, yeah, and I hear you
And
there, but those two markets don't always, they don't cross over as much as people think they do. Even
One
the
thing
people
about
that steal comic books aren't really the people that are looking to buy comic books. Not right now, at least,
Yeah, one thing about a print comic book is 1,000 years from now, that delivery system will still be able to deliver you a read.
Exactly.
John's got a good point. He'll read digital, but still he wants the book backboard in the box. So, yeah. There are people. See, I don't read digital. I don't care for the concept of it. I don't even read books digitally either, guys. I still like like I'm reading Brian Wilson's autobiography right now of the Beach Boys. I bought the book. I want the book. I don't want to read digitally. I don't want to read a Kindle. None of that. So
you can't take your iPhone to a convention and have people sign it.
Yeah. Well, plus too, as the computer becomes what we do for a living, it's not what you want to do for fun.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to stress to people that are thinking about physical comic books and whether or not they're important, there's a lot of people that work digitally. These hard copies of these materials are actually the only way to get them this way. This is like actually owning the artwork. The only way you could possibly do, because it's just a file normally.
Let me tell you what I did. I'm a former journeyman printer. And so when I was publishing my Wild Stars comics back in the 80s, I had my own printing press in my garage. And so like my Wild Stars Volume 2, number 1, it's, as far as I know, it's the only comic that ever been done this way, where it was created, written, illustrated, lettered, printed by the same guy. I printed in my garage, and I used a printer's technique. I had this one page where I had this mountain in the background, and I faded the mountain out throughout the print run. So if you got like a solid mountain in the background, that's towards the first of the print run. If you got it where the mountains weren't really faded, that's towards the end of the print run. And so every single copy is like a unique art print. I don't know if anybody have ever done anything like that ever. Yeah. And it's also the first comic that had foil stamping on it. It was the first comic that had die cutting on the front cover. It's the only comic that's ever had die cutting on the back cover. So I had all these industry firsts. Yeah, I know. It was my fault. What happened in the 90s?
Die cutting. Oh, boo.
Yeah, I was doing that in 1988.
I'll tell you what, though. A comic book being die cut is fine. A book that goes on a shelf sideways right next to another book that gets shoved right next to it by a customer, not a way to go. Don't do it.
Put it in a bag.
And if you have to put a book in a bag, you're telling a store, don't buy it. Not a comic book, a book. A trade paperback or something like that.
Yeah, because if a book is in a bag, the first thing a parent's going to think is, oh, that's bagged for a reason, and they won't think collectible.
It's amazing. When I started out back in 82, everything in my store was age appropriate. Then it started being where the publishers made so little age appropriate material, I actually had to create a younger reader section where, okay, that's where everything's okay for your kids.
Well, what about...
Go right past it. They want to go to the stuff you and I are reading. They want to read the older stuff. They don't want to, that's for my age. I don't want that.
That's how I felt as a kid. I almost feel like it's a strange thing that young adult is such a thing in comic books these days, because I was reading Star Slayer when I was 13, and stuff like that. And
Grimjack backup.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff. And I don't know. There are some good YA titles. They're usually from the normal, the normal suspects, the usual suspects. Scholastic and First Second and those kinds of companies. Boom. These are the all ages that actually do a good job talking to the kids.
Don't talk down to them. Yeah.
Exactly. And when you see a Marvel one, I always say they seem to talk down to the kids.
They do.
It's not even Spidey super stories bad, good. That's how. And when I was a kid and I wanted to read a Spider-Man comic, that was the last one I wanted to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Give
you
me
gotta do-
Marvel
read it
Tales
before
or
you're rich or
something.
rich.
all you got to do to make kids comics is just leave out the cuss word, extreme violence, and the obvious sex. You can have innuendo, but you can't just show it. And bam, you got a kids comics. Because kids are very intelligent. They can read the same level of reading as you and I, and that's what they're looking for. They want something that'll challenge them. They don't want something that talks down to them like they're just not interesting to them.
Well, I remember when it was a big deal that the Teen Titans that Night or Robin, Dick Grayson, and Starfire were like having shared a bed together.
Baxter #1.
And what was that?
Baxter version #1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people are like, "Whoa, is this like too much? Maybe."
So,
Just
I
too
used to
much?
every summer I would talk to the gifted and talented summer Lorette University for youth, and it used to always be all boys. Well, then one year it was all girls because they were the ones who signed up first. So in that one I actually did a lot more listening than I did talking about what was they liked, and that's when I was first discovered about manga before manga went to all the chain centers. And I used to sell a ton of manga back then. There'd be many days I was the only guy in the store all day, and but what they liked about manga had nothing to do with superheroes. They gave them something different. It could be magic or just school life or anything, but it just nothing at all with superheroes. So Marvel says, hey, and DC says, look, everybody magic sell well. Everybody wants magic, so they give them superheroes drawn in manga style. They don't sell, and then they say, oh well, people are tired of the manga art. It never had anything to do with the art. People wanted something other than just superheroes all the time, and that's where Marvel and DC are really missing the boat. I remember back in the old days, they'd have licensed material, give you other stuff. Now it's just all superhero stuff. No licensed material hardly at all.
Yeah, except for Conan, I guess, right?
Yeah, Conan's about the only license, but now they got him in the Marvel universe.
They sure do.
Conan the Avenger.
Exactly.
What is up with that?
It's not actually the worst thing I've ever read in my life, but I don't care for it.
I collect them because I've got all the Robert E. Howard stuff. I may be doing a Robert E. Howard chronology before too long. I don't read them. I just I just look at them. They do nothing for me.
What was that?
Which one are you guys talking about again?
Well, Conan came to the Marvel Universe in an Avengers storyline that was one of those weeklies.
Yeah.
Savage Avengers.
And now he's in Savage Avengers, exactly.
Yeah.
And they've also had like mini series that have like Moon Knight and stuff.
Right.
Like
Okay.
So we're waiting for the Conan the Barbarian and Mary Jane team up.
That's right. They both have books.
And Mary Jane looks a lot like Red Sonja, so there's
exactly. Well, there's been that before.
She did cosplay Red Sonja.
Well, it was in Marvel Team Up, and there was like some magic guy. I can't remember who. Kulan Gath, I think.
Kulan
Gath.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay, and
always one of those two.
He magicked Mary Jane into like Red Sonja somehow, and that was the story. And John Byrne did the art. So there
I
you
just
go.
remember the What If.
Yeah.
I just remember the What If book that had Wolverine and Conan fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if, man?
Somebody found that at Marvel and said, "Hey, whatever happened with the rest of this story? Why isn't Conan in the Avengers now?" And now he is.
Have you ever noticed how many What If stories actually did end up being future storylines in the Marvel
Sure
universe?
thing. Yeah. Most obviously, we have the most recent ones that have happened, like Thor being Jane Foster, and what was that last one you just said? But yeah, those I can't remember now.
Wolverine versus Conan. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Oh, Conan being in the Marvel universe. Yeah, duh. What we were just talking about. But yeah, it's funny that they do that, huh? I think it's one of the things about comic books that's kind of there's some really good things that are going on in the mainstream, but when you it's a lot of parody, like they're parodying. Maybe I should say parroting is what they're doing. They're just like kind of like taking and rewashing and re-rinsing and putting a new skin on something like it's a video game almost. Yeah, and you're just watching the same thing, and nobody's really creating something new. And I understand that I wouldn't want to get reamed the way creatives do at Marvel when you see the movie stuff happen. That's got to be frustrating to not make that cash. But you also have to give a little bit if you want to. Donny Cates has always looked at like, oh man, this guy's a visionary. But all he's doing is taking Ghost Rider and making him cosmic and putting Punisher in it, and something else, and on something else on top of that, and that's all his stories are kind of. I'm not trying to bash him, but that's kind of what you see a lot of people do in comic books these days. Just kind of put a little new wrinkle on it. The Joker or the Batman Who Laughs, and all that stuff.
Yeah, the stories aren't that good. The art's better than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
The stories, not so much. The stories are very regurgitated.
Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if DC is going to be digging a little bit of a hole here soon, because, we all heard that they've got that character Punchline now. And, if you haven't been paying attention, there are two other companies. One's got a comic called Punchline. And then there's another one, Ted Sirota and his Hero Tomorrow comics. He's got a character named Punchline who's been on the cover of books within the past 2 years. So there's a fight there that could be coming up. But,
cause a stink, take the money.
Now, here's how trademarks work. You can do your own book and have Spider-Man fighting Conan the Barbarian or Conan and Tarzan in the same book. You can't use those names in the title. So you can have a character named that, but as long as you're not trying to do a trademark or market it under that name, then you're not doing trademark infringement.
Well, I can't imagine that DC wouldn't ever create any character that they wouldn't try to trademark, and just for the action figure market of the whole thing. But what got me wondering about that was the Batman Who Laughs. You brought that up. Surely 2000 AD is going to say, we don't remember selling Judge Death to anybody, and yet here he is in all these Batman comics all of a sudden.
It's funny. I saw it's not that it wasn't even like like Twitter trash or anything. It was someone. There's a lot of people these days saying, "What do you like, this or this or this or this?" And someone compared these two, these different characters and whether or not they were ripoffs of each other. And they showed like Black Panther, and then most recently there was a DC character called like Red Lion or something like that. And they showed X-Men and Doom Patrol and the standard ones that you would normally see. And I looked into it. It was interesting what people were thinking and whether or not it was a ripoff. But I think that Batman Who Laughs and Judge Death are definitely similar, at least.
DC and Marvel have been doing this back and forth their whole life anyway. Whenever Marvel's got a character, DC does a version of it, gives it a different name. So, I guess it's really impossible for DC to have, no one owns the name Punchline. So whatever, they're doing it. It worked out well for them. It's probably not going to last forever anyway. So, and you know what? It gave them the boost they needed right at a time when, their sales weren't bad, but they were kind of, the Batman Bane story that did okay. It wasn't like flying off the shelves until the Punchline story came.
Well, how was Batman doing who's writing it? Tomasi right now, I think?
No.
King. No, King's
Venditti? I can't remember who's doing it right now.
Like that.
No, Tynion's doing it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So have you seen, I know it was only a few weeks. Have you seen sales go up or down from the Tom King run?
Actually, they've gone up from the Tom King run.
Yeah, I had seen that also, but it was like only an issue or two. So,
see, Tom King, they were doing monster sales on Batman until you had the infamous 50th issue where Batman marries Catwoman. And everybody was so mad about that bait and switch, and it just crashed the sales on it for quite a while. It was finally starting to come back up a little bit, and then he got him off the book to supposedly do a Batman Catwoman series, which I'm surprised they haven't done yet. And then they got these other guys on it. Well, they keep introducing new characters, and people just started buying it. It's more the speculation more than it is readers. People say, hey, there's a new character, and I want it because of that new character.
I think the Joker War series is getting ready to boot up here. It's going to be hot. It's going to be
the three Jokers.
Yeah, the three Jokers. Yeah.
I always thought Fantastic Four was Challengers of the Unknown since Kirby was on both of them.
Right.
I think that's what Stan Lee said. Hey, Jack, you're doing that Challengers of the Unknown over there at DC. Give me your version. Jack draws it up, designs the characters, hands it to Stan. And Stan, who had been writing all those romance comics all through the 50s, then just goes through doing the dialogue. Like he's still writing a romance comic. Oh, does Betty like me? And everybody's like, wow, angst in a superhero comic. What a new concept. And, look what I created. Jack created it, and Stan just dialogued it, and he dialogued it like a romance comic.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just I saw a message down there about Fantastic Four and Justice League, and whether or not they were like direct comparisons of each other or something.
You know what? It's funny.
Or is that done to compete with them?
No, I see the comparisons being Justice League and the Avengers. There's your comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I always looked at it. But obviously, oh wow, that leads into this.
This being a time to buy back issues, I got this online this week in paperback. Out of print, I had to go to England to find it for a reasonable price.
Wow, shipping from England is reasonable compared to American prices, huh?
I'll tell you what, as far as back issues are concerned in the store, I can always upcharge any of those DC Marvel crossovers because you're not going to see them for like a long time, maybe ever again.
But isn't DC and Marvel talking? Weren't they talking about doing crossovers again?
That's internet talk. I don't think that's true.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, you heard what happened, didn't you?
What's that?
About why they haven't done anything in a long time?
I heard it was Joe Quesada and somebody.
On the radio in New York,
is that what? Oh, he talked smack about DC or something. Batman?
The story that I've heard, and I've heard it from multiple sources, was that Joe was on a radio talk show, and somebody's asking, well, what do you think of the DC comics? He goes, hey, DC's got the best characters in the world. But they're like the porno star with the largest equipment. They just don't know how to use it. And I think he used different words that a little bit more colorful. And so then DC, the story I heard is that they call and say, look, we're never going to do another team up until he's gone. And Marvel's like, well, hey, he's a good art director, so he's never been gone.
But that was Dan Didio also, right? And
I couldn't tell you about the Dan Didio. I think this is before Dan Didio days.
Oh, okay, maybe. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Well,
yeah, so there you go.
It's a good story. Michael, I remember buying this first issue. I was at your shop buying the issues when they were first coming out, the JLA Avengers books.
So, everybody was so excited about it, but it really fell flat. Everybody was really disappointed once it did come out. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it did pretty well. Oh, I was working at a store, but
it did well on initial sales, but it didn't have a whole lot of subsequent sales. And I thought that was going to be an evergreen like Watchmen or Dark Knight, and it never manifested.
Well, and I think those two companies getting together, it should always be in print. Really.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people found the story very predictable.
Well, I mean, of course it would be. I just want to see good artwork. What was that?
One thing that sticks out to me about it is that both JLA and Avengers have in their own books referred to these events, which puts it in canon in both universes.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
I remember crossover happening with IDW right now. IDW and DC can get together and do just about anything. It seems like.
Wait, IDW and DC?
IDW's going by, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't IDW over?
They're in financial trouble, but I think they're still around.
Yeah, they were on a show earlier today, actually.
News, but I've been hearing the rumor in the mill that IDW is over.
I don't know. I think they're still hanging on.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, they've got a lot of debt, I think is what it is. But Rob Liefeld's doing G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes, so
yeah, we got Ninja Turtles, but come on, anybody could buy that. I mean, or lease it or whatever.
Well, what I think though is when you get one Hasbro item, you have to buy all of them.
Right.
And that's why you see like, G.I. Joe and Transformers and My Little Pony and stuff like that. Yeah.
Where's Barbie?
And you got to be willing to do that. And we've already said Marvel is not really in the game to do that anymore. They buy it.
I wish they would make more Barbie comics. I cannot hang on to Barbie comics. They are the fastest selling books I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Put them out. So why isn't Barbie? No pun intended. I mean, I'm not joking. Why isn't Barbie translated into comics better than she has? You know.
Oh, I know, because whenever they make her, she sells well.
Yeah, she would do great. Turn her into a superhero. What the hell? I'm serious. She could be like Dazzler from Marvel, you know? Put some roller skates on her.
Yeah. Well,
I like Dazzler, by the way, okay? That obviously fell flat, that joke, but I like Dazzler. She is the most powerful X-Men out there.
I don't know why IDW is
You'll
doing so bad because
on that one.
Anytime IDW does a DC crossover, I pick it up. I mean, you know, they did that Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
thing.
that's right.
I was all over that. And then what else did they do? They did Batman Ninja Turtles. That should have made, you know, them all kinds of bank. So
Batman and the Max, good stuff.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. And you guys, I don't know if any of you, Michael or Yul, if you guys got it or not, but last year, IDW did a reprint of the old Marvel Star Trek, the motion picture adaptation.
Oh yeah, they did a magazine.
And I sold out of that so quick.
I did too.
Get it back in because I wanted to keep a copy for myself, but I didn't. I'm like, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I was like, good for IDW for doing that. So, yeah.
Well, I hope they survive it, and I'm glad all you guys are surviving all of this. We're getting the comics in now in drips and drabs, and you know you'll find a way to unload them somewhere at some point.
Somehow, I mean, the one thing I'm doing is, you know, I am very tightly ordering so that I can meet the demand of the people that say they want it, and I'm not concentrating on future customers. Really, because I know what I can do to help them, you know, in other ways, you know.
Take them to the dog park with you. Wear an overcoat.
Exactly. I could do that. I can get my spinner rack into some other store, you know.
And how did Daphne Blake sell for you guys? I mean, she was the only thing going. Did she sell out?
Daphne Byrne.
No, she never sold out.
Scooby-Doo.
She's a top 5 seller for the month, but I still got copies.
The reprint. I sold out of it.
Which one?
The Batman '89 reprint.
Yeah.
And the Nightwing reprint.
Nice.
I still haven't got all my copies of the Nightwing reprint. I'm still waiting for them to replace my shortages. They're like, I'm back at Diamond.
You get them reprint.
I really hope that when this whole thing is done, I really hope that DCBS and Lunar keep going.
I do.
Because this is the feet to fire moment for Diamond. And Jeppy has said on other shows that this is his wake-up call. And we said he's what, like 70 or something? It's a heck of a time to get woken up.
Okay, send him links to this show because he needs to watch us.
Yeah,
behind your desk, but talk to the guys who are in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're dealing with. And I mean, some of what I'm dealing with is not dealing with anything, but I'm also not getting a lot of communication from them, even though we've put the phone calls in.
Yeah.
And, we can only think that maybe it's not that Diamond doesn't love us or they do hate us. Maybe we're so insignificant.
Well, they're
watch out, you're getting a horse's head in the mail.
Not right now.
And Steve can say he got a wake-up call all he wants. I think who really got the wake-up call, at least the one who's acting like they got one, is DC Comics, realizing, holy crap, everything funnels through this one thing. That thing goes away. We can't get out.
Yeah.
So
DC got
they
smart.
started.
DC got smart. Now, what I found was funny was Marvel recently goes, oh, by the way, we're going to start producing again, but they didn't give you the option to get it through a different distributor. I'm like, well, duh.
Yeah, I got a call from Marvel, and they were asking me, well, how's it going? I said, well, I'm open. I just need books. Yeah. Now, there's 8 states that were not in lockdown. I'm in one of them. According to the person who called me, I was the only guy in America who was actually still open selling books, which I just find that really hard to believe.
Yeah.
But, that sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, okay, we're going to do this, and so we're going to, just ignore the data to the contrary of what we don't want to do.
Right.
Like, we don't want to ship till Diamond comes back out. You're the only guy. Yeah, next guy they talk to, you're the only guy.
Well, I mean,
you may be the only guy. You may be the only guy.
You got to wonder, like, how much they look at you as, again, being significant. And I mean, I'm not saying that, but I am saying that they're saying that. I mean, that really pisses me off, though. Well, yeah.
We are. Look, without us, Marvel's going to lose so many sales without the independent comic book store.
Yeah.
Sure, they can sell it in Marvel or sell it in Walmart, but Walmart isn't going to turn over 10% of their store so that Marvel can have their flipping comics in there.
Well, it's just why I'm so interested on how Allegiance Arts is going to do in Walmart. I really hope they do well, because right off the bat, they won't need Marvel or DC.
Right.
Yeah, I have to admit, I've never been so disillusioned with the comic industry as I am right now. Like I said, I've been doing this 38 years, and I've never considered walking away from it as much as I am right now.
Don't you dare, Michael.
Well, I'm looking at my options. It just at a certain point you just get to where you're just a little tired of all the BS, and you're just too much you can't control, and it just shows you just how you can't rely on others. You got to start looking out for yourself.
Unfortunately, that is what we as business owners, no matter what you are, whether you are in a clothing business, a furniture business, as who was it? RJ told us about, no matter what business we're in. I've owned a tattoo shop, and that is a crappy industry to be in. And I owned a shop as a tattooist for 22 years, and so it doesn't matter. Whatever business we're in, there's always roadblocks, and there's nothing easy. It's because, as my beautiful wife sitting next to me, she used to say, and she still says it, if it was so damn easy, everybody would be doing it.
Sure.
But I've write a book about it, damn right. Don't think we won't write a book about it when we all retire.
Speaking of writing books, you said you do gaming. I was still talking with Trill Lords this morning and doing the final edits on my Wild Stars role-playing game. It's kind of a Wild Stars primer. It's tied in with the 5e system, Amazing Adventures 5e. Going to the printers now, so that's going to be available pretty soon if you want to have some gaming with the Wild Stars.
All right.
Thank you, Michael. I mean,
if you
really
can.
all sides, bro. You can't leave.
Awesome.
You got to stay in there, Michael. Stay in there. Stay in there with us, man. You do it all. You're my hero, damn it.
See, I've got 2 books. I turned in a book just 2 weeks ago on another novel. I've got 2 other novels I've got due in 6 months. And I'm about to sign a contract for another 4-book deal that I need to knock out in 2 years. And I'm like, why am I wasting my time beating my head against this post, for all this frustration to sell comics when I got this other career going? So,
so you have an extra place to sell your books. That's why.
Well, that's true. Sometimes it's keeping me away from what I really want to do, because right now it's just the frustrations. You get tired of it after a while.
I know my friend John, who's listening tonight, who's been sending us questions. He and I are both Tarzan fans, so I want to carry your stuff in our shop, because we've got a group of Tarzan fans out there, and Shadow fans. Because, like I said, I'm doing my movie, which of course is on the back burner right now. But this community, RJ, and God bless you, RJ, for doing this, introducing all of us together, has made me realize that we are not alone. And I don't want to get cliche and use power words here, but we're not alone. We as a community, a comic book community, we are here together, doing this together, and doing it for our fan base. Our customers mean everything to us. They are, because without our customers, we're not in business. And if we're not in business, I'm sorry, Marvel, DC, Image, all you guys out there, they've got nowhere to sell their damn books.
That's true.
No matter how you look at it, it's still a cause and an effect. and we have to stay strong. We have to continue to back each other up. Thank God there are programs out there that are trying to help out the small comic book shops with some kind of aid, and it's important that we hang in there no matter what. Now, how long we can, that's anybody's guess.
Well, it all depends on the industry, right? I mean,
You're right. So, RJ, send all this shit out to DC and Marvel. They need to watch because they need to hear it from us. We're in the damn trenches. They're not.
Yeah. According to them, according to Marvel, I'm the only guy in America selling comics. So
you are
the only guy. That's me.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I know they do down the street.
Uh-oh. Turn them in.
We joked about it.
Back when we used to have a thing called Free Comic Book Day, which came this and went this year with nobody even noticing it. I remember I used to always do it, and it was like the worst day of the year.
Really?
People would come in, they'd be griping and grumbling, give me more, this isn't enough. And, well, they were comparing me to the local Hastings, which would say, okay, you take all you want, and they'd be out in 20 minutes. I was giving away books all day long. I was giving away 30, 40, 50 times as many books as what Hastings was giving away. Maybe a whole lot more than that even. But so I was limited to people like 3 a person, and people just come in, gripe, and complain. Well, then 1 year, when it started out, it was supposed to all comics be all ages to qualify to be advertised on the website. Well, then they started making you buy adults only comics, which I was not going to have those because I didn't want the wrong thing go to the wrong person. Next thing I know, I lose my livelihood that I built up for decades. And I said, look, I'm not ordering those. I don't care if I'm on the website. Just forget it. And a miraculous thing happened. It was a positive event. People said these weird things like, thank you, and I appreciate it. And the whole negative crowd didn't show up. And so people would stay around them because they didn't just get in and get out. And they did some shopping. All of a sudden, I started turning a profit. What used to be my biggest money loser day of the year, all of a sudden became one of my bigger money-making days of the year. And so I was always on to everybody at the Free Comic Book Day. Look, why don't you let people know that us as the retailers are the ones who pay for it? I had a guy file a complaint with the police that I was not giving enough away. I had a detective come down and investigate me for not giving enough free comics away. And when I was trying to tell him how it worked, he started yelling again, I know they're free because I read it on the website. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Go to the frequently asked questions all the way down, item 23, real tiny print. It says we pay a nominal fee. I'll tell you what, when you start talking about thousands and thousands, that's not so nominal. No, and so I've made sure to never, ever be on that website again. But when I tell them that, they're like, oh, you're the only guy who's ever told us that. But I've talked to so many other retailers around the country who've had the exact same experience. So when you're telling them something they don't want to hear, you're the only guy. They just ignore you.
Well, every comic shop I've ever gone to on a Free Comic Book Day has limited down to what you could get. So, I would always plan Free Comic Book Day. I'd bring the boy with me, and we do the comic crawl. It's like, we'll go to Dave's store, and okay, now we're going to go to this store over here and outside of Belleville. Now we're going to go to Fairview Heights. We're going to go until we get them all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Or the way I did it, and RJ will remember this, you get 2 free, and then if you spend, I forget what I said, like $10 worth, you got another one you could pick. But I mean, it was so successful for Susan and I last year. We doubled up for this year, and then all this shit happened. I mean, we had a cosplay player came in last year for it. I mean, we turned it into a big, fun event. And last year, if you remember, it happened on May 4th. So it was Star Wars Day as well, and we were showing Star Wars in our theater. So,
wow. Nice.
And then this year,
it's a good event, but the retailers get no love for the fact that we're the ones who pay for it.
Exactly.
And I have customers tell me all the time, I had no idea. Everybody thinks that somebody backs up a big old dump truck and unloads all these free comics for me just to distribute, and they have no idea that's actually cost me, that I'm the one giving the gift. And they just get indignant with me, like, well, that's not good enough. I want more.
All those cool little freebie things, like your buttons that we hand out to people. People don't realize we still have to pay for those buttons. Sure, they're at a discounted rate, but a bundle of 25, whatever, still going to run us, $10, $15.
Yeah, so, sometimes more.
All the freebies you're getting still outside of the postcard.
Yeah,
and of course, every year you got that. Every year you got that Yahoo comes in and says, "I want the most expensive book in the store for free." It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And then you got an argument.
The guy who comes in and gets the books. I've been more and more disappointed with the offerings every year, and I started picking up a lot more independent because DC and Marvel just figured out, oh, we can just grab something that was good this previous year and give a reprint of it or a preview of something coming up. I think the last thing that DC did that was original for Free Comic Book Day was like the #0 issue for Blackest Night or something like that, where it actually led into an event.
Marvel's the same fucking way.
And both Marvel and DC are making them secrets. Okay, you order them. This is going to be the Marvel Gold. This is going to be the Marvel Silver, but we're not telling you what it is until all your orders are placed.
Exactly. And then you go, wait a minute, that's just a reprint with a different cover on it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's one of the problems with the industry. We don't have good information. Only information we get is disinformation and, designed just to make us buy stuff we can't sell. Do you guys, are you on the Diamond operating system, the Comic Suite?
I am not.
I keep having the same problem, and they can't seem to get it fixed, where a customer will close out, and all of a sudden we go back a month later, all of a sudden he's down for all his books again, and it's ordering books for him.
Yeah.
I've had to delete customers 3-4 times, and they're always like, well, you're doing something wrong. When you delete the customer, how are you doing something wrong? I just everything is designed to be put us at a disadvantage, it seems like.
Well, I use a different point of sale system, and it doesn't always jive with Diamond. So even when you go and do something else, a lot of times it doesn't work out all the time so well. So it's not automated that well, is it?
No, we're having to deal with a lot of adversity. We're on the front lines. We got no backup, and we're getting no credit. It gets frustrating. It really does.
And Michael, and here's a classic example of disinformation from Diamond. I don't know if you guys pay for the comic book shop locator. You guys do any of that?
I have.
So recently, I don't remember how I did it, but I got into the locator, and I'm looking at who's in my area, and there I am, and there's like no information.
Mm-hmm.
And so I write Diamond. I'm like, one thing, you got our name wrong. There isn't a button when you click on that shows the profile. What the hell's going on? I've been paying for this now for 2 years. They're like, oh, okay, so you need to change the name? I'm like, yeah. We're a DBA. My wife and I have a company, and we do business as Cosmic Comics Games and Collectibles. So I'm like, but you have my LLC in there, so it doesn't even sound like a comic book store. So he calls me, we get it set up, and then she goes, okay, well, I'm going to send you a link, and then you have to put everything in there. What the hell am I paying you $50 a year for then? I got to do all the damn work. I do that with my website. I got to do it with you guys too.
Yeah, you do. Everything on my comic shop, I have to do myself. Yeah.
Yeah, but they never let me know. I gave them the first year I joined. I never got 1 ounce of information about preview of it. Or hey, guess what? Here you are. Look at yourself.
Yeah, we're on our own. Yeah.
Yeah, you're shit out of luck.
It must be my fault when I don't see something. I always think that, at least.
Apparently, because we're comic book owners, it's all our fault.
Well, well, that's true. I mean, in no way do I say, I've heard the words predatory when talking about Marvel and the way they do their, incentives and stuff like that. Even DC a little bit, but usually it's Marvel. Anyway, but I've used that word, and it's kind of a buzzword. I got into a conversation with someone about that earlier today. And, it's easy to latch onto it, but there are some things that they do that people don't realize. I mean, I talk to a lot of my customers about it, because they're like, oh, did you get this cover? You know what I have to do to get that cover?
Yeah. Go out of business, what you got to do.
And it's like really small thing. You got to, jump through, and it's impossible sometimes to meet the needs to do that. You just want to help a customer out. I mean, it's not even like making extra money, but the things they do to make you get that thing, you have to then charge money to make it worthwhile.
Right.
And that's a game. I hate that game. I've hated it for so many years. It's been so very upsetting.
Yeah. And usually by the time, a lot of you don't even know what the cover is going to look like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Case in point is Spider-Woman #1, the variant, I think it was 1 in 25. And I never order that much of anything because I just want shops. You know, I don't have two shops like Michael you do where you can split them up, or even some of my competition. And I didn't know what the cover looked like, and I came in and thank God the cover was kind of cool. It was blood splattered, and they had the triangle cut out and all of that. And,
oh yeah, that one's good.
Yeah,
you know, actually, you've got more of an advantage to buy the variants than I do because I've got to meet that variant, that quota level at both stores. If I don't reach it at one store and the other does, I don't get it. I got to hit the target at both stores. Yeah, I mean,
I thought you got to order as like one store,
right, and then you spread it out.
Nope, I got two. I've got two stores, two accounts, and if one account doesn't qualify, the other one doesn't get it, even if they do.
All right. Well, I apologize for cursing you without even knowing who you were at the time.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, to talk about the variants, one thing that really frustrated me, of course, I did that Ed Garage Burroughs 100-year art chronology, and it was just a plan. I always had to do that. And so when Dynamite was making tons and tons of variants on the Warlord of Mars and Deja Thors, all that, I was buying copies of books I knew I wasn't going to be able to sell just to qualify for the variants. And the variants a lot of times would be free of charge. Well, then I got shorted. I report the shortage, like, okay, we'll do a credit. Like, no, let me return all this stuff I ordered just to qualify for it if I'm not going to get it. No, you got to keep that, and we're going to give you a credit. Again, a zero credit doesn't help me. I mean, I bought all this stuff to get that book. I don't have the book, and now, you know, finally I just gave up. And I said, I'll just find the cover some other way. I mean, they have killed the completists. You cannot be a completist in the industry anymore. It's impossible.
Impossible. I ship out to a friend of mine in Texas. He always wants the full run of, you know, Joker 80 or 80th anniversary or Catwoman. So, and then they're $10 books, and I get him one of everything. Or like Vampirella, he always wants that 1 in 10 or that 1 in 7 or that 1 in 20. And dude, my wife, who looks at me and goes, "All right, enough of this Vampirella stuff. We're taking a lot of Vampirellas just so you could get that one issue in for your customer in Texas." No, and she's right. So if you guys need any Vampirella back issues, don't even go through Diamond. Hit me up.
Okay.
I have a
50th anniversary one. You know.
I have a customer. He buys. You know, he'll buy 15 if he wants to get something. You know, like a 1 in 15 or a 1 in 25. He buys the whole thing, both covers. Make
Michael,
sure that happens.
Did the guy do that? You're the villain.
No, this is actually for My Little Pony. He gets all the covers and wants to get the special ones also.
Wow.
You know, My Little Pony was such a phenomenon when it came out. I was selling huge numbers, and it was mostly these guys, old grown men in the age of 40 and older. And they were coming in and had all these little girls and these 40-some-year-old men. And I was like, man, now these guys sexual predators? That ain't going to happen in my store. And then I figured out they were bronies who'd gotten into the cartoons back when they were a kid in the 80s, and they came back. So it was a real weird demographics. Older women didn't like it. Young girls loved it. Young boys didn't like it, but old guys did.
And see, with me, boys like it. On where I'm at, most of the people who buy My Little Pony are, 7 to 10, 11-year-old kids. Boys. So,
in my store, it's all little girls and older men.
Well, I could tell you, he's told me that we are now we are past peak pony right now. So it's the dreaded 3 Ps right now.
Yeah, the ponies, the craze is over. But
if there was
came out, they were running real good.
He said if there's a 10,000 person convention, it's now like 5,000. And if it's like something that sold 100, it's now only 50, that type of thing.
It's over, but I will say that the artwork is still some of the greatest artwork I've ever seen. It's awesome. The storylines are fun. But that craze is over. And like anything, that way, and maybe it'll press back up again. I don't know. But,
Well, now I'm going to have to start checking out My Little Pony.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because the bronies, they would come from all around the state and agree at a certain time they'd meet at my store. So all of a sudden, this wave of like 30 grown men come in, and a couple of little girls are like, "What is?"
All right,
I was like, "What is happening?"
That's creepy, damn it.
It was creepy. Yeah, Joe figured out it was just
that way.
Demographics.
Demographics, exactly. We're skewing a little low, and we're skewing a little high. We really wanted that sweet spot in the middle, but we're not getting that.
Your bell curve is the parabola.
Probably a really good time to sign off now before it gets really weird.
Yeah, maybe so.
I think that's a good idea, and you know, I do want to keep this going on even after this whole pandemic is up. You know, so we can talk about what's selling and what's not, and kind of just keep our thumbs on the pulse of the industry when it resuscitates,
Well,
if it resuscitates.
And like I said, RJ, you created a community with us here, and I love it. I love it.
Well, I can host up to 6 people on this thing, so which means I can add 2 more since I'm hosting myself. I keep trying to reach out to other retailers around the country to see if they want to join in, and other publishers. I've got somebody in mind. I might ask next time we do this in 2 weeks. Perch was here with us last week. Perch could not make it tonight. I don't want to say why, because I don't know if it's public information yet or he wants to make it public, but it would be very, very good news for him if what he's doing tonight would come through. So maybe he'll be back with us in 2 weeks and he can talk about his good news.
Well, that's the whether it's just the 3 of us or the 4 of us, or I mean, and you bring in 2 other people, or you have guest stars. That's that's what keeps it fresh.
Yeah, get that Mike Barron in again.
That was fun. And he asked us. I'm like, hell yeah, you can come in. Talk about whatever you want.
To Bradley Potts out of Belleville, and he's got a new comic coming out, continuing his series, and I could reach out to him, RJ. And he's a great writer. Runs his own independent comic. We carry it, and I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about this. So.
Oh yeah, hook him up with me directly. We'll do a one-on-one with him. We do that all the time. We did one of those night before last. We're going to do one tomorrow night with a company out of England who's getting ready to do The Executioner is their title story. We just did Lady Alchemy's creative team on Monday night. So yeah, we love talking with the independent guys and letting them pimp their stuff, so to speak.
All right, I'll get them on. I'll get them with you.
All right. Well, guys, it's
Cheers,
been fun.
God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank
Talk
you.
well. Stay safe.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you in 2.
See you then.